I'm Caitlin and welcome to the Lit Review. Today we are doing a readathon, another readathon. I can't seem to stay away from them, but this is one that's always going to hold a little bit of a special place in my heart. I think it's because this is an extension of the very first readathon I ever participated on this channel, and that is the Historical Romance Readathon Weekend Edition. So this weekend, which is the 14th through the 16th of August, and just like the one in April, this is hosted by Lisa from Remarkably Lisa, Lacey from Lacey Book Lovers, and Jess from Peace Love Books XO. So they are some of, to me, the biggest romance novel aficionados out there, and I just love that they continue to do versions of this readathon. It really is one of my favorites. I love, love, love romance novels, and in particular historical romance novels, and I like to read kind of different genres back to backs, but I will always come back to romance. It is one of my first true literary loves, pun only slightly intended. So for this weekend, I will put the little bingo board up here, but it is kind of a little choose your own adventure, try to get your bingo, your tic-tac-toe. It's a 3x3, so a 9 square grid. And I don't really have a secure plan for this readathon. I've gone through my romance book collection and I've pulled all the titles that I think could work for any of the 9 prompts up on the board. And I'm just kind of gonna see what I feel like reading and hope for the best here. I won't be too fussed about it if I don't make a bingo, but it's really just about getting these historical romances read. And I believe, though I'm not 100% sure, I believe that you can double up with some of these. I think there's a group book. If there is, I will put that up here too. I suspect it's a Lisa Kleypas book because that is one of the favorite authors of our hosts. But also, since it's a specific prompt, I suspect that there is a group book. I will probably not be reading that unless I can track it down and I already own it, but that's totally okay. I do still have some Lisa Kleypas options on my little table here in front of me. So I'm just gonna pick what I'm gonna read first, and the goal is honestly to read 3 books by the end of this weekend. I think I can do it because romances go really quickly. They're a lot of fun. So let's just make it happen. So I am going to start with The Eris Effect by Courtney Milan. And the reason I wanted to pick this book up is it's one that my friend Marissa has been recommending to me for a while. And when I bought it, I thought I was going to read it super quickly, but I got distracted by other things, which is no fault of this lovely novel. I have been wanting to read some Courtney Milan for a really long time. I hear very good things about her writing style, and yeah, this series in particular. So I believe this is the 2nd book in a series, but my friend Marissa, who recommended the book to me in the first place, really recommended I start with this one because she loves the character so much and she didn't think it would mess me up too much to start with book 2. I think romance, you can do that a little bit more easily. It's nice if you have the context, but it's deeply unnecessary for most books. And I just kind of want to lift up Marissa too. While she doesn't have a booktube channel, she does have a podcast that I have actually been on a couple of times, but it's a really awesome podcast if you are a book lover, particularly if you are a fan of these Sweet Valley High novels, because it is themed all around the Sweet Valley High and getting people to read them and do a deep dive on each individual book as they justly deserve. So I will leave a link to her Instagram down below so you can go check her out. I pull up my phone and look at the bingo card. So the Eris Effect would count for a couple of different things. I believe it would count for part of a series because, like I said, this is book 2. And it would count as a new to you author, since I haven't read any Courtney Milan yet, but we're fixing that today. And then this also counts for an author of color. So I can, that's not like it gives me a bingo just off of 1 book, but it does potentially get me 3 slots. So hey, give it a go. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think if I had to stack this somewhere, though, even though it counts for those 3 challenges, if I were going to pick one, I might choose this for new to me author. So I will check in with you when I have read some more of this. Hey everybody, it is now Saturday, August 15th, day 2 of the weekend edition of the Historical Romance Readathon. And it's just a little before 5 o'clock and I finally finished The Eris Effect by Courtney Milan. So this is a little further back in the timeline than I was planning on being. But this was just like such a worthwhile read. As all of you know who've been here for a while, I don't give star ratings in any of my vlogs or digital diaries. But I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it, because I have feelings. I have a lot of them. This is just wow. Wow, wow, wow. I will definitely be reading more Courtney Milan in my future. I really loved how our two main characters, Jane and Oliver, were really kind of unique within the larger sphere of historical romance. I think a lot of contemporary, and I mean like contemporaries of our time, a lot of current, that's a better way to put it. I think a lot of current historical romance writers are really doing awesome things with the genre in terms of making heroines more, you know, of modern sensibilities, making their heroes of more modern sensibilities than some of the old school traditional ones. And I think Courtney Milan is at the forefront of that, to be honest with you. Her characters are so good and pushing against boundaries and traditions that you as a modern reader can connect to, but that still feel resonant within the times they're living in. And because Courtney Milan is a lawyer herself, and she did a lot of research. It's really clear how much research and care she put into the events, the standards and practices of the various characters, and all of them were honestly so fantastic to read about, whether that was Jane's little sister Emily, whether that was Anjan, her Emily's, you know, beau in this that you get to meet a little bit of. Everything was so well done and well executed, and you got to see the layers and the imperfections of society too. So I just felt really connected and compelled by all the characters in this book. And I mentioned in my last check-in yesterday that this is part of a series. It is book 2 of the Brothers Sinister series. So I will definitely be checking out more of that series as soon as I can. It is time for me to pick another book for the Historical Romance Readathon, and I'm going to do this a little strategically. So as I mentioned before, I have all these books in front of me that could fit for these various prompts, but I am going to pick a novella for this one in order to help me get through the weekend in an official and fast capacity. My next pick for this readathon is going to be Tessa Dare's Beauty and the Blacksmith. This is a Spindle Cove novella, so you know, it's quite short. And this has been on my shelves for a while, and I haven't read the entirety of the Spindle Cove series. It's one that I've kind of popped in and out of, but I do really like the overall the overall space of Spindle Cove, and the people that live there have been just a treat to read about. The short and sweet synopsis of this is that our heroine Diana is a proper lady who is intended to marry a nobleman, but the person that her heart really belongs to is the Spindle Cove blacksmith, and this is their love story. So it's really about Diana and Aaron Dawes, and that, will they, won't they? I'm sure with this much to get through, we'll get there a lot faster. Is a book that I've already owned, so I think officially I will count that for this. It is also part of a series, so if I'm going for a straight bingo, this will count. I will count this as a book I already own in order to get through it. I also just really want to read something quick. And then, yeah, I will wrap this up hopefully tonight, check in with you again, and then let you know what my third book is that I will read for Sunday in order to sprint to the finish here. I guess I could technically skip this since the Eris Effect would count for a book I already own, but I really do want to check this out and give this a go. And yeah, I will let you know when I have finished and check back in with you then. Whew. Okay, so it is now Monday, August 17th. And yesterday, the 16th, was the end of the Historical Romance Readathon Weekend Edition. But I didn't film anything yesterday because I just wasn't feeling like getting gussied up to film. So you're getting me after work on Monday. But I did complete the Historical Romance Readathon Weekend Edition. I did get a bingo, and I did read 3 books, even though I suspect that third one was kind of unnecessary. I still enjoyed doing it, so, no harm done. Saturday, I finished, as you saw, Beauty and the Blacksmith, and then Saturday night, I actually started Only With Your Love by Lisa Kleypas. I'm not sure how well you can see that cover, but this book was originally published in 1992. Now, there was a Lisa Kleypas group book for this readathon, but because I don't already own it, I couldn't get a hold of it. And I believe that was Lady Sophia's Lover or Lady Sophie's Lover, one of the two. But this does fit for Lisa Kleypas, and this does fit for Takes Place at Sea because this is a pirate-themed romance, which I do not think I realized when I picked it up long ago. But I'm happy to have read it. This novel follows a young French woman, Celia, who is on her way to the US, New Orleans specifically, with her new husband when their boat is attacked by pirates and she is taken captive. Now, this is not like the start of her romance with the people who immediately capture her. It is actually a very traumatic situation, so I think there are some well-deserved trigger warnings for violence, torture, and attempted sexual assault. I would also give a bit of a content warning for people who are uncomfortable with dubious lines of consent, because when we do meet our hero, Captain Griffin, and he does kind of save her from worse fate, from bad pirates, where he is kind of like set up to be the good pirate. The first time that they have sex is very questionable as to like when consent was achieved. Like, I would say eventually consent was achieved in that situation, but it's a tad bit unclear. So that was one of the things that actually bothered me as a reader, because I don't necessarily love that as a trope. I think consent should be affirmative and often. I'm not a big consensual non-consent person, although I know for some people that trope really works in their romance novels. So just warnings for that. And because most of that stuff takes place within like the first 50 or so pages, it took me a while to get into this. And again, I don't give star ratings, but I did enjoy this. I am still kind of sifting through how I actually feel about it. I think it is very much a slower timeline kind of book, because you're on kind of like this immediate adventure with Celia when she gets taken captive, and then like getting out of that situation. And then once that situation is resolved, there's still like 250 pages of the book, so you have like your whole other journey to go through once that situation's resolved. So I won't say anything more than that, because I feel like there's a lot of kind of adventure-oriented depth to this novel, so I actually really liked the adventure portions of it more than the romance itself. But this did give me a bingo for the Historical Romance Readathon Weekend Edition. So this helped me get, I think, a straight line bingo of Takes Place at Sea, which is this one. This would also count for a book I already own, but as would Beauty and the Blacksmith, which is kind of how I cheated my way in there a little bit. And then my author that I've never read before was Courtney Milan for the Eris Effect. So these are the 3 books that I read for the weekend, and I've never really attempted to do one of these hyper fast-paced readathons where you try to get through as many books as you can in one weekend. And it was fun, but it was also kind of exhausting. And I did this with a genre that I really loved, so I can't imagine doing it with something where I wasn't as engaged in the overall genre. But this was fun. I'm really glad to have participated. I do really love this readathon and the creators of it, so happy to have participated and to have gotten more romance in my life. I was just saying at the beginning of this month that I needed more, and I have achieved it. So that's my read on the Historical Romance Readathon. Don't forget to check out the creators' channels that I've linked down below. My Amazon wishlist is also open through the rest of August while I can still buy books here, and there will be a book haul forthcoming. There's going to be a lot of historical romance in that book haul when it finally gets there, so be on the lookout for that. It should be coming to you in mid-September. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope you have a fantastic reading day. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of me and this channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!